Hi, hello, hey. So today we will be talking about my June wrap-up. So everything that I've read in June, my overall thoughts, what I rated the book, and just overall how I felt. We will see what I remember reading from this month. I am already looking at the stack and I know I don't remember a lot from a couple of these. So I don't even remember reading some of these in this month. But I double checked and I know I did. So with that, let's get started. So the first book that I read in June was Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez. What do I remember from this? I really enjoyed the story of this and the letters in it. Oh my gosh, the letters were so cute. So basically we have Brianna, who is a doctor, and then I believe his name's Jacob. Yeah, Jacob, who's also a doctor. He basically moves into the same hospital as her, and they kind of start off on a bad note. They have a bad interaction, and in the end, it's just kind of like I don't want to say miscommunication on like their part, but more on like the hospital staffing part and why they don't get along in the beginning. But then Jacob's better at writing out his words than just saying it to communicate. He basically writes her a letter explaining that he meant no harm and that he was actually just trying to introduce himself and all this. And it kind of starts them being pen pals in a way and writing back and forth. And I loved the letter aspect of this so much. I feel like this has a good what is the representation for people with anxiety. Jacob has severe anxiety and has a hard time going to things, communicating with people, explaining himself, such as that, because of his anxiety. And I thought it did a really good job of kind of detailing that and showing how it felt. So this was kind of like friends to lovers. So the tropes that I wrote for in this were workplace romance, one bed, and fake dating. I love this. I rated it 3.5 stars. I really enjoyed reading it, and I feel like Abby writes in a way that is so, it just like captures your attention. It was so easy to get through, and as much as I enjoyed it, the end kind of caught me off guard. And I didn't really enjoy it. I didn't think it fit the storyline. It didn't really, I don't know, it was kind of out of left field for me. So that did take my rating down. I would still recommend it. I thought it was a really good read, and it's definitely still worth it. There is one book before this, which is, I believe it's called Part of Your World. Also a great one. I think I loved that one more than this, but it definitely started the month off on like I would say a decent foot. The next book that I read was Twisted Games by Anna Huang. This is the second book in the Twisted series. This is for sure my favorite book so far in the series. And from what I've heard about the other books, I think this will be my total favorite overall. Reese Larson is the standard. So the tropes that I have for this are the princess, she's the princess, he's the bodyguard, second book in the series, and grumpy sunshine. Reese is definitely grumpy and Bridget is sunshine. I am very slowly moving through this series. I think I read the first book in it like last year maybe. It's definitely a work in progress to get through the series. I don't know why. I do like Anna's writing, and I don't know. I think I really enjoyed the bodyguard trope, so this was definitely it for me. This was so good. And I liked that nobody really did anything wrong in this, in the sense of like typical third act breakups. Like Reese didn't lie or like manipulate her or anything like that. I loved it. I gave this 5 stars. So good. If you have to read one book from that series, I would recommend this one for sure. So next up, I have Heartless by Elsie Silver. I did continue on with the Chestnut Springs series, and it is so good. I wasn't sure. I think I rated the first one 4 stars. I rated this one 4 as well. However, if I had to pick between the two on like which one I liked better, I would definitely pick this one. Cade is grumpy, and this was Cade and Willa's book. Cade is the brother from the first book. He's Rhett's brother. And then Willa is Summer's best friend from the first book. They were fantastic together, and I loved this so much. Me saying that about every book I've read, but this one was really enjoyable, and we'll definitely get to a couple that I had some frustrations with soon. But while we're on the good path, let me get my feels out. So Cade is looking for a nanny, and Willow fills that position essentially. And Cade is definitely the grumpy brother, while Willa is sunshine. Just a quick list of some of the tropes are small town, grumpy sunshine, single dad, and this is the second book in the Chestnut Springs series. It is a little bit of a spicier romance book, so if maybe that's not your thing, just know that. However, I enjoyed it. It was really good. The kitchen scene, oh my god. Yeah, so this was great. I don't know how many times you need to hear me say this is great before you decide to read it, but so good. However, I would like to point out, as you'll soon see, this is not my favorite of the series. I continued on, I read the third book, and I do have the fourth book too, but I haven't read that one yet. Next up, we have actually one of my book club picks for the month, which was Maggie Moves On by Lucy Score. I also got to meet Lucy Score this month, which was super fun, and I got my book signed, so it's definitely a good month for all the things. I was very happy. I waited like in a 3-hour line. She was fabulous. She was so sweet. Oh my gosh. Anyways, back to the book. This was workplace romance and like found family. This book was so cute. And when I say so cute, think like Hallmark movie vibes. If I had to pick a book off of my shelf to be a Hallmark movie, it would be this. Like, this is Hallmark. So if you're looking for a book that is like very much a happy read, where there's not necessarily a huge conflict, and you just need something that's like a pick-me-up, this is the book. It was so good. It's basically, Maggie is a YouTuber, but she basically flips houses and she just records it and puts it on YouTube. So she buys this new mansion, and it's old and it needs flipped, whatever, it's redone. And she hires a landscaping crew to help fix the place up, and that's where Silas comes in from. It's his landscaping crew that kind of gets selected. I love banter in books, and this had the best banter. I thought it was so funny, and just like Silas with the one-liners, man. Oh, they could both give each other kind of a hard time, but give it back to one another and like just joke about it, and I thought that was really cool. I really enjoyed that. I rated this 5 stars. This was such a good book for me, and it gave me exactly what I needed in that moment. Next up, I read Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros, and I will keep this short since I did do a reading vlog on this, so if you want to know my total and complete thoughts on it, just go back and watch that, because I know it's been everywhere right now, so I don't want to add to it again, and just, yeah. I did rate this 5 stars, and it is definitely worth the hype. It is a fantasy romance, I believe. So good. Worth the hype. 5 stars. Next up, I have the third book in the Chestnut Springs series, which is Powerless by Elsie Silver. I love this cover, mainly because it's purple. Purple's my favorite color. And I don't know if you can see, but there's a ballerina. So this was childhood friends to lovers. Small town, and it is the third book in the series. I did write down a line from this book, and it's, "You can wear someone else's ring, but we both know you've always been mine." And I don't want that to go under the impression that the cheating trope is in this, because it in fact is not. It's nothing like that. And if you read this, you will see exactly what happens. I don't want to spoil it. But let's just say the fiance isn't a great person and it's not cheating trope, so give it a chance. I rated it 5 stars. I loved Jasper. Jasper is a hockey player and he grew up with Sloane. Sloane is a ballerina dancer and it was so cute. Jasper gets a tattoo that kind of represented their relationship together and what she meant to him. He didn't even know about it. And it was just so cute and I loved it. Once again, this is a spicier romance, so if you're looking for something that's more closed door, this might not necessarily be for you, but I loved it. If you're on a cowboy romance kick, this is the book for you. And all of the books in the Chestnut Spring series, they're technically standalones and they're all companion novels, which just means you can read each one individually on their own. You don't necessarily have to read it in order. It's just better to read it in order because you will get little glimpses of other couples in each book. Next up, I have The Gay Best Friend by Nicholas. I'm going to butcher this last name. D'Amizio. I'm so sorry if I butchered your last name. So I actually got to meet him in person. He was at the Lucy Score signing, which is where I picked up this book. And they did like a panel before, and he was answering some of the questions about his book and whatever. He sold me on it, honestly. He was so funny, the author himself. And so I was like, okay, I'll give it a try. Like, you've convinced me, I'll read the book, and I bought it. And he was super sweet, so this is signed and everything. Let me tell you, this book is like Sex in the City meets reality television. Like, it's messy and drama filled, but it is honestly so much fun to read. So basically this book is about Dominic, and he is in a wedding for his 2 best friends. He is both friends with the groom and the bride. Like, he's best friends with both of them. And he has to go to basically both parties. So the bachelorette party and the bachelor party. Let me tell you, there's a lot of chaos that happens in all of this, especially between each party. And it was just so funny. If you're looking for something that'll give you a good laugh, but like you also enjoy drama and like not like your drama, but like someone else's drama and like hearing the tea and all that, like this is the book for you. This was so interesting and like it just hooked you. It's also pretty thin. I say thin, but it's 300-ish pages. It's a little over 300 pages and it just flies by so quick. I gave it 4 stars. I highly recommend. So next up, a book that if my best friend is watching, she will be very happy to see, is Imagine Me by Tahira Mafi. I finally finished the last book in the series. I'm not reading the novellas just because I learned about them a little too late, and I've heard that if you go back and read them after you've basically read all the books, like it doesn't do as much. So I would just like to put the series to rest. And by me saying I want to put the series to rest, I don't mean that it was bad in any way. I mean it in the fact of I've been dragging the series out for probably like a year, maybe a little less than a year now. So it'll be nice to finally finish the series and just put it away. That being said, I think if you're a romance reader and you go into this series, I think the ending is, it's good. You still get an HEA ending, but there's something that's like, it feels like it's missing from it, I guess, in a way. I don't know how to properly like explain that. Although even the dystopian conflict that's going on in this was a little like, I don't know, you just got to like this big thing that happens and then it was like, okay, well, the book's done. Like, I don't know, I feel like it needed just a little bit more of an ending, which is kind of crazy because it is a little thick of a book. It's over 430 pages, so I don't know. I did rate it 4 stars. I did enjoy it, and I think overall it wrapped up nicely for being a 6-book series if you're not including novellas. I would say the 5th book was definitely my favorite from the series. Overall, the whole series I really enjoyed, and I definitely recommend it. I see why it's so like popular. I think most of the books I rated a 4. I know the 5th book is the one I rated a 5, and I think I might have rated one of the others a 5 as well. I did tab this one, so all the books that I read from the series are tabbed, and I am just happy to put this one to bed. So the last book that I read this month was Before We Were Strangers by Renee Carlino. And this is the only book that I didn't fully enjoy. And I say that when, if you follow me on Goodreads, you probably saw me rate this like, I think I rated it 4.5 to start with, but I ended up changing my rating the more I thought about it. After a couple of days of thinking on it, I dropped it to, I think, a 3.5, maybe a 3. No, I dropped it to a 3 because I feel like I can't say any of it without spoiling something, so I'm going to say this in really vague terms. The miscommunication that happens in this is, one, kind of wild, but two, okay, so there's multiple, I guess, miscommunications, or the miscommunication causes a issue. I don't know. There was just a conflict in this that I felt like could have been resolved a million different ways, especially if it was that big of a deal. And then some of the people in this, their choices don't make sense to me. I can understand why people loved it. Like, I checked Goodreads and this is rated really high. And I rated it 4.5 to start off. So I completely get it. I just couldn't let it go. Like, my brain could not stop thinking about this. And I mean that in like a more of a negative way, as in like the miscommunication. I was just like, but why? So 3 stars. I will still recommend this just for the fact of I see why people can like it. And obviously it's rated pretty high on Goodreads, so people do enjoy it. It is friends to lovers, and it's basically over a, I believe, 10 to 15 year span of time. You do get glimpses of the past and the current. As their story kind of unravels, you see more and more details of what happened between them and what's happened over the years and how they reconnect and stuff like that. So I would definitely give it a try. These are all of the books that I read in June. June was a really good reading month for me, and I am very excited for July. I am filming this and it's already July, so I am in the middle of reading a book. Just a quick reminder to like, comment, and subscribe. It's very much appreciated, and thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.